A merciless response to Friday's deadly terror attacks in Paris. That's what France's president is promising against ISIS. French fighter jets have launched their biggest raids in Syria to date. Meantime, ISIS has released a new propaganda video threatening a similar attack in Washington, D.C. Joining us to discuss the impact is NBC 10 military analyst Colonel Rick Kiernan. Colonel Kiernan's military resume includes 26 years of Army experience. He served our country in Germany, Vietnam, and Saudi Arabia. He was also presented with 2 Bronze Stars.
Colonel, thank you so much for joining us and taking the time. Let's start with this. The president came out to say that we are staying the course in the fight against ISIS. Is keeping troops out of the region around Syria the right thing to do, in your opinion?
Well, I think also, Keith, we have to be careful that it's not a one-size-fits-all. There were times where we would have a large show of force with a lot of boots on the ground, and this sends a message, to American people, reassures them we've got a lot of people over there. But if we're using the wrong strategy, for a different enemy, we need to take carefully a look at how we're using it. This is a very insidious target that we have. It is not a frontline, symmetrical battlefield. It is an asymmetrical battlefield, and it has a lot of entities on the ground. So we have to be very careful as to how we tailor a strategy for this particular enemy.
Colonel Kiernan, ISIS threatened to attack Washington, D.C. What is happening right now to prevent any attack on U.S. soil?
I think what's happening right now, and the transparency is not required because we don't want to show our cards, but I think since 9/11 there's been a very good strategy on pulling together a comprehensive intelligence network. The Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, and the National Security Agency have a seamless bond together, and now they share that with the FBI, because if there is a threat to the U.S., then we have to be very, very careful that those 4 agencies are tied together and that there's a seamless relationship amongst them.
So there are a couple things going on here. Airstrikes on ISIS strongholds. President Obama saying we're staying the course. In your opinion, what's the next step to winning this war against ISIS?
I think the next step is reminiscent of what we did in Vietnam. It started with advisors on the ground. It then escalated to a lot of boots on the ground, and then it de-escalated back to advisors on the ground. The value of our special operations, the folks that come out of Fort Bragg, is that they have matured so much over the last 25 years. They provide intel on the ground. They provide human intelligence because they're tied right in with the indigenous people, and they can also provide airstrike and indirect helicopter strikes on the targets. We have to be very, very careful of our strikes because it is amongst the populace and the people. So we're going to have no-fire zones, and we have to be very, very careful that we don't cause collateral damage to the people we're trying to help.
Great insight, NBC 10 military analyst Colonel Kiernan. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
My pleasure. Thank you.